Good morning, good morning. Please grab your coffee and grab your seats. My name is Billy, and I'm an organizer with 1 Million Cups. And on my right is Tyler, Caitlin, Nicole, John, and Kusal. Sorry about that, welcome, and we want to say hello and welcome to the St. Joe and Piper High Schools. Hey, everybody, give them a hand. We appreciate you being here. Like I said, we're the organizers. We also have some ambassadors for the program called the Caffeinators. If you're a caffeinator, please stand up or put your hands up. Okay, these are guys and gals that you can go to if you have any questions during or after the program. We'll give you a hand. Okay. How this works is we meet once a week. We have two entrepreneurs, and they'll tell us about their business, give about a 6-minute presentation. Then we'll turn it over to our expert panelists, and the panelists will give them some questions. After that, we turn it over to you. Well, right now, we're going to go ahead and let the panelists introduce themselves.
Morning. Thank you. Thank you for the response. I'm Morgan Perry from Mid-Continent Public Library, the small business team there at the library. And we do business a different way at the library. We still wear cardigans, but we wear them out in the community instead of staying inside a branch, and everything we do at the library is free. So if you need some help getting things started in your business, or you really like data, we have the sexiest data. Oh my gosh, you just can't wait till you see it. Give us a call, please email us, check us out on our website. It's mymcpl.org/square1.
Morning, my name's Ed Frent. I am actually new to town. I'm working for a venture capital firm in the Crossroads district called KC Rise Fund. We invest in all Kansas City, as well as Lawrence, Manhattan, Columbia, early stage companies. I had actually worked with, I'm from Chicago, just moved down. My Chicago VC had worked with KC Rise, and we had co-invested together, and my girlfriend went to KU. We love Kansas City, got an opportunity to come down here. So I'm really excited, really just totally blown away by the amount of innovation here, and led by the big companies like Sprint and Cerner and Garmin and Hallmark. And these are all great, world-renowned companies, all based here. And then you guys are part of the ecosystem too. When I was in high school, I wasn't coming to anything like this. So I would be actually really happy to help anybody, on the high school crowd in terms of looking at colleges and ways they can get involved at startups here. Really it's, you guys are the future. It's cliche, but you can do little projects for some of the startups like that are presenting today, or for companies that are based in KC, looking for talent. It doesn't have to be some formal arrangement. So I'd be glad to help any of you guys, and I'll be around afterwards, and really look forward to getting my feet planted in such a great city. So thank you for the invite.
Thank you very much. If you do me a favor, pull out your phones, download the app so you can leave some feedback to our presenters during or after the meeting, and also you can see who's here. So right now, we're going to go ahead and introduce Drink Local and Think Global, Brent Patterson.
Yeah. Hey, good morning. Can everyone hear me okay? My name is Brent Patterson. As he said, thank you 1 Million Cups for having me. I'm the founder of Drink Local, Think Global. Really excited to share a little bit about the global water crisis with you guys this morning. So to start off, I'm going to tell you a little bit how my morning looked. I woke up, I got a bottle of water, I started preparing for this a little bit, I cooked some breakfast, I took a shower, brushed my teeth, went to the bathroom, actually got another bottle of water because I'm not a coffee drinker like 90% of you in here, and then I drove here. That opportunity arose to me because of where I'm from and the family I'm from. Unfortunately, for many around the world, their morning looked a lot different, and it looked like something like this. To the right, you're going to see this lady. She's going to have about a 5-gallon jerry can that's going to weigh about 40 pounds. It's not light at all. Trust me on that. They're going to walk anywhere from 1 mile to 3 miles. So from the time it took me to get ready to get here, that's what they're doing to go drink that water. And that water is they're going to have that 5 gallons for the rest of their day for their family. This is actually a photo of the former water source of the first community we drilled a well in. So I wish this wasn't an exaggeration, or I was really trying to catch you guys and exaggerate this global water crisis, but I'm not. For around 663 million people worldwide do not have access to clean water. That's, to lower those numbers, that's twice the size of the United States. That's 1 out of every 10 people. They're drinking water like you had just seen. It's said to be known that in Africa alone, women spend a combined 40 billion hours a year walking to get water. And it's not even guaranteed to be clean water. They're going to ponds where there's feces, there's diseases, and so much more. They're getting water that I probably couldn't pay most of you $100 today to drink. Lack of clean water causes 1 child to die every 39 seconds. That's about 2,200 kids every single day are dying because of diseases caused by unclean water. Diseases from dirty water kill more people than all forms of violence, including war. Those numbers are very real. But to us, it's hard, probably to many of us, it's unknown because we can't even imagine walking through our day without clean water. So what is my story, and what is Drink Local, Think Global doing to help solve this global water crisis with many other wonderful nonprofits? So in September of 2015, I heard of the global water crisis. For 5 months, God continued laying it upon my heart, and finally I started doing a little more research, and I came across this photo, which to this day is the most powerful photo I've ever seen. This photo, the photographer describes it as this young lady taking a drink of water, throwing up, taking a drink of water, throwing up, because that's all she has. Now, again, I couldn't even pay you guys money to drink that. And I want you to imagine, not you having to drink it, but what if you had a niece, a nephew, a son, or daughter, and you had to hand them this water to drink, and you see them getting sick from it, but you can't take it away because that's all they have. And if you don't give that to them, there's a good chance they're going to die. But giving this to them, they can die as well. So we got a group together. I said, guys, let's drill a few wells. So we did an event called Drink Local, Think Global. We got 250 people in a room. Somehow we got 5 breweries to donate beer. I know there's a lot of kids here. I do not encourage underage drinking at all, by the way, but we'll talk a lot about craft beer, so I just need to note that. And then I actually ended up going 28 days only eating rice and water to raise awareness for the cause and raise money. We ended up raising about $16,000, and that was it. That was all I expected, and that was all I wanted to do. But God had a little bit of different plans. In October of 2016, we became an official nonprofit. As a team, there's a team of 4 of us. I emailed everyone who was a part of it that had a huge part in it. I said, girls, I think you guys can do incredible things. Do you want to be a part of this and start a nonprofit? And they said yes, and they're some of the brightest girls I know. There's 3 of them. We said, hey, we found a problem, we tested a solution, and we created a vision. The first part of that vision was a promise to our donors that 100% of what is donated goes directly to providing clean water. The only money that will be taken out is the transaction fees online that we never see. Every penny that is donated from the public goes directly to providing clean water. We are solely funded on operating expenses, and I know many of you might say that's not sustainable. I'd be more than happy to answer how I believe that is and how it's proven it is. We did that for 2 reasons. Number 1, transparency. We wanted you to know where your money was going. Number 2, for me personally, when I came to someone to ask for money, I wanted them to have that confidence. I'm not taking your money. It's going to provide clean water. Once we receive that money, it goes to the drilling of the well. Once that well is drilled, we then want to show you guys, the hero, hey, here is what your money is doing. Here is where your money is going. The community is impacted. So with that, we provide you GPS coordinates, project updates with photos, with videos. We allow you to hear some of the community stories. This is something across the water industry that many nonprofits do, and I love it, and we wanted to become a part of that. So how do we do that? How do we engage the consumer? We focus on our brand and our culture. Obviously, we partner with craft breweries and the craft brewery consumer to provide clean water to those in need. With the breweries, we hope to build long-term sustainable partnerships with them that not only benefit us to provide clean water, but benefit them as well. With the consumer, we hope to engage 21 and up crowd to, hey, whether it's, if you're going to do something crazy for us. Many of you are probably throwing a Friendsgiving or a Thanksgiving or a holiday party. Hey, why don't you do it with a party for a cause? We also have some awesome apparel. Here's our most popular t-shirt, and each shirt tells a story as each shirt provides one person clean water for a year. So where does your money go? How does your money impact? And I know to us, it's probably astounding, like, okay, obviously health. Everyone needs clean water to survive. But here's just a few basic statistics is access to clean water and basic sanitation can save around 16,000 lives per week. Time that children spend walking to get water, they can now go to school. Because most of the time it falls upon the young girls in the family to go get that clean water so they can't go to school. Women can be empowered. I strongly believe that women over there deserve just as much empowerment and equality as women here in America. Instead of walking and get out water and spending hours a day to fill up that 5 gallons for the family, they can start their own business. They can spend more time there with their families. It's said to be known that every dollar invested in clean water yields $4 into a community. And another crazy stat is $5 where we build provides one person clean water for a year. So where are we at? Fortunately, because of donors like you, we've been able to drill 3 wells the past year. 2 are currently being in the process of being drilled. We've been able to partner with over 20 breweries in 6 different states. We've had over 1,000 donors the past year. One small event in Omaha with 250 people, we sold out with 500 people last year. So what are kind of 2 big takeaways that I hope you guys take away from this presentation this morning, because I know there was a lot of statistics, and honestly, right now, many of you are probably like, holy crap, I did not know that many people went without clean water. So number 1, thankfulness. I hope today when you drink clean water, when you use clean water, when you go to the bathroom, when you take a shower, you at least today, man, say, I am so thankful to be here in America to have clean water. I say that because I believe gratitude leads to action. I believe you have to feel it in your heart to become a part of the solution. Number 2, I hope you guys take action. Whether it's with us or another incredible organization, I hope you guys decide to take some kind of action, whether that's campaigning, a donor, or just telling people and raising awareness. For the kids here, I know we got a lot of high schoolers. You probably can't partner with a nonprofit based on craft beer. But I do want to say I believe the high schoolers here probably have more courage and more time to change this world than anybody else. There's another organization called Charity Water who I first partnered with that does incredible things, and I encourage the high school kids here to be a part of. So guys, this can be solved in our lifetime. I know it. Not because of the research I've done, because of much smarter men than me who have done research. This can be solved in our lifetime. It's 2017. I should not even be up here saying how people are dying from unclean water, but I am. So I hope you guys decide to take action and become a part of the solution. Thank you.
All right, experts, we're going to turn it over to you.
That was great.
Thanks.
You told me a story. You included your personal story, which made it identifiable. And I'm going to say something, and I'm not saying it to be a jerk. I'm saying it because I work at a nonprofit, and I see all these nonprofits, and I work with them daily. And I think because you're standing here, you want to do better than the average nonprofit. So please hold that kernel. Morgan's not trying to be a jerk. There are so many nonprofits that address the water issue, and you often cannibalize the issue. So why? Why are you cluttering with one more nonprofit? Tell me what's different about your nonprofit that means instead of buying stuff from Red Dirt, who also addresses this issue, or 20 other ones just in this region of Missouri, tell me why yours. Explain to me why, or what damage I'm not doing to these other ones by supporting yours. Because there's only so many dollars.
Sure.
And if I get one more, I'm celebrating my birthday, please donate to this cause on Facebook. I can't live my life at this point. So please explain to me.
Yeah, so for us, it's pretty simple, the craft beer industry. We're engaging the consumer. I did my research. Currently, there's definitely no water nonprofit that's as focused on the craft beer industry as us. And to my knowledge, there's no, and I'm not saying there isn't, there's no nonprofit in the U.S. that's solely focused on the craft beer industry. So if you don't like craft beer, then you may not want to partner with us as much, and that's okay. But we strongly believed that we have an industry that's over a $30 billion business. Now, numbers don't mean anything unless you take action. So we felt, hey, if we can get into this generous industry and partner with breweries while also engaging the consumer with those craft beer consumers, people who love craft beer, people who are already going to drink, so why not drink with a purpose? And that's why we felt we had a thing.
Totally get that part. What I would like to know, though, is why should I give you that money instead of giving Matt Damon that money?
For sure. I think to be respectful of you, it's hard for me to compare because for us, if you're in the global water crisis, I don't care if you give your money to myself or Matt Damon. I care that people are getting clean water. And so I completely understand, but I work a full-time job. So I'm not getting anything from us, which is the sole reason why we did that 100%. So I guess to answer your question, why us? Well, hey, guess what? If you love Matt Damon and he's the one who's encouraging to give clean water, give as much money as you want to Matt Damon, because I think that organization is doing incredible. For you high school kids, if you want to partner with Charity Water, absolutely. I love what Scott Harrison and Charity Water are doing. If you're over 21 and you love craft beer and you want to get your friends together, drink some craft, buy an awesome shirt, and partner with us, I love that as well.
Those shirts are awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice job on those. And I have seen a lot of pitches for profit and nonprofit, and I would say you're probably like in the top 10% of all presenters. So you're really genuine, like great slides too. I think those are.
That's our creative directors. That's all.
So I mean, again, for the high school kids, I would really encourage, as you look at your college classes and whatnot, do public speaking. It's really important for no matter what you're going to do in the world, and it's a skill that not a ton of people have. And I'd love to get you to mentor some of our companies. But I think I personally would love, and I have an event next Thursday. Maybe you could help out with.
Would love to.
But how would that work if, again, everybody in the room probably either attends or plans events like that. Could you go a little more into, basically the logistics of how that helps you and just how it works when you help people throw, gatherings?
Yeah, for sure. I think the simple answer is you may not be able to donate or you may not be able to campaign, but you know someone that can. And I think that's what I always tell my friends is, hey, you can't donate $100, but you may know 5 people that can. So at this gentleman's event next Thursday, hey, he may not want to donate $10,000, but there might be one person that wants to. His company may not want to get involved, but someone that's there, their company may want to partner. And I think that's the big thing, and that is just, hey, you may not want to, but you may know someone that wants to. And I think that's what we all forget, not just with my nonprofit, but with everyone in the nonprofit industry. I get so upset because I hear so many times, I want to do something, I want to help out from my close friends, and it's honestly this, hey, you may not be able to donate money, share something on Facebook. Text 5 of your friends, ask them to get involved. For you high school kids, what can 70 of you do? I guarantee you, if 5 of you put your minds together, you could raise enough money to fund one well. That's guaranteed, and I'd love to help you out with that. Not for the drink locals, because again, we're with craft beer, but for another organization. So I think just raising awareness. I mean, I would be surprised how many people in this room knew about the just curious, how many people in this room knew of awareness about the global water crisis before today? So half? Half, and then half we get to spread the awareness about.
Okay, we're going to open it up to audience questions. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and start in the center here.
Hi, I didn't get your name. What's your name?
Brent Patterson.
Brett. Nice presentation, Brett. Lots of questions and comments. Some of them are, if I wanted, I totally get why there's yet another water charity, let's call it, because everybody knows about it, or at least half this room knows about it, but how many of us are doing anything about it, right? So I think what you've identified is a consumer action that happens that can be tapped to siphon off, that's a water term, but anyway, to siphon off, no pun intended, some cash for this cause. So one of the things that I don't understand is if I wanted to contribute to your organization, what exactly is the mechanism? Do I have to buy a beer at a particular location? Do I buy a beer and then throw a buck in somewhere? Okay, so that's a question, but that's not the one I wanted to answer, actually. We've already brought up Matt Damon and water.org, so I always think about organizations like that. How about this? Not all water problems can be solved by drilling a well. I'm an engineer, so I know a little bit about water supply. So have you thought about that?
So to answer question number one, we have a website that still needs a lot of work, but we have a website where you can go donate. You can throw a campaign, throw a party, whatever. We do partner with certain breweries at certain times. It's not a constant thing. To answer question number two, have we thought about, there's so many different ways that people are getting clean water. Right now, we're focused just on drilling wells. We partner with one ground organization. I think as we expand, then yes, we can definitely move on to different countries. But I think right now, since we're so small, we want to focus on one area, so then we don't try to grow too big. Our marketing and our voice can be the voice for those people and not everyone. Hey, do I hope we get as big as charitywaterandwater.org? Yes. But at this moment, I think, hey, let's focus on one area and solve that area first.
I have a question in center.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I have two questions, one having to do with your 100% operating expenses.
Yes, ma'am.
And the other having to do with your efficiency.
Yes, ma'am.
On taking the last one first, I understand cannibalization of the market. I think that's a legitimate question. So to me, it's about who's going to spend my dollars more efficiently. How do I know your wells being dug with my $10 are as efficient as Matt Damon's wells being dug at $10? So with whom do you partner? How do you make sure the efficiency is there? And then secondly, are you interested in scale? And if you're interested in scale, how do you think that you can do that through purely operating expenses?
Okay. Yeah. So first question, how do you know where your money's going? So like many other water organizations, here's the process. Here's the exact process. We partner with an organization called Water for Good. Many of the biggest water organizations partner with their ground partners. Once I send them the money, I get a sheet and I approve of, hey, this is where your money is going. We have an agreement that 100% of what we give them has to go towards building the well. They are a Christian organization. We are not a Christian organization. So they promise us, hey, this is where your money is going. The second question is about the operating expenses, correct, on scale. I never see us moving away from that 100% model. And a lot of people think that's crazy, and you're right, it is. A lot of people think that's not sustainable. I strongly disagree. It has been a proven model. Here's why, and it's more of a personal story. Everyone always tells me I should be a salesman, but when it comes down to making the ask, I'm a horrible salesman because I feel like I'm getting something from it. When I go to someone and ask them for $15,000, I feel no guilt or shame, or I have no at all. It's just, hey, do you want to donate $15,000? And because I strongly believe when you donate, you should know where that money is going. Yes, I'm not saying nonprofits who take money from donations are doing bad things. Not at all. Not at all. I partner with nonprofits who do that. I'm just saying the way we're going to be. One thing I told our team in the first meeting is that 100% model will never change. I don't care if we make money or not. We just care about solving the global water crisis.
Another question in the center.
Hi, I know that the craft beer market's kind of the target market with your non-for-profit in particular, but do you have any plans or ideas to expand beyond that market at some point so that people like us could do something with your non-for-profit in particular?
For sure. For the high school kids, I'll speak into that. I want to go so many different places, right? We want to get into coffee. We can get into water bottles. For the adults, we can get into whiskey, vodka, whatever. For the high school kids, clarity is key. Clarity is key. Clarity is key. Always remember that. When you want to do a million different things, focus on one thing. Get really good at that. Once you've excelled at that, move on to the next. So yes, we do hope to expand to coffee and water, but that will be quite a few years down the road. We want to perfect the beer market, the craft beer market, and then move on to the next steps.
Question in the back.
Hi, yeah, my question for you is about sustainability. I've been working with a group of people who, about 6 months ago, built a well in Nigeria, and it was requested at that time that they use a generator to sustain the well. However, providing fuel for that generator is something that in impoverished countries is something that's difficult,
sure.
whereas they're normally less receptive to solar panel powered wells because they're difficult to fix and there's not a lot of new tech out there. So I was just curious if you had any potential solutions for that problem.
Yeah. I don't have any potential solutions to that problem. So you asked a great question, though, maintenance, right? A lot of wells you build, if they're taken care of in maintenance at least once or twice a year, they can last about 10 years. But a huge problem is once someone builds and they leave, this community has no idea what to do with this well if it breaks. They can't get the parts. They can't do anything. So what I love about our ground partners is they have one of the most well-known maintenance programs in the water industry. So when they build that well, they give that community the opportunities to say, hey, they ask the well committee, each community has a well committee, and they say, hey, do you want to be a part of our maintenance program? And they either say yes or no. If they say yes, and they go around at least once a year to make sure this well is working. That is their choice. Well, you're asking, well, why did they even give them a choice? Well, you guys, again, it's hard for us to fathom. We want this community to feel empowered to take care of this well. We don't want to go build it and then just say, hey, we're going to come back and fix it whenever you need. No, we want this community we don't want to be the hero, right? We want the community to feel like this is theirs and them to take care of it and them to take action if it needs fixed. That's why we do it.
Another question back here.
A great job. What's the cost of putting a well in?
Yes. So
And then the second part of my question is, I think you're doing an admirable job, but part of this needs to be an educational process so that when an impoverished country has water issues, they need to know how to purify the water that is existing there today so they can get out of those conditions. And so that's my question is, what are you doing towards that?
Yeah, so the first question, where we build, on average, it costs about $15,000. Where other people are building, it could cost anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000, maybe a little more. Completely depends on where we're at. The reason it's more expensive where we're at is it's one of the lowest poverty. It's the Central African Republic, one of the lowest poverty countries in the world. It's hard to get fuel there. Fuel's more expensive. The roads are horrible, so maintenance on the trucks, right? There's a lot of stuff we don't think about. As far as the water source, I don't know if I'm getting your question correctly, so I want to make sure to answer this as them purifying water. 100% agree it's education. Each community that our ground partners build in, they do a basic sanitation class to teach these communities, right? Again, I want to take a step back. We're like basic sanitation. We learned that when we're 4 years old. These communities don't have basic sanitation. They have no idea. They're drinking water with feces in it. So they do a basic sanitation class. As far as sustainability, again, I don't know if I'm answering your question correctly, but I would say to that, how are they supposed to learn if they don't have the equipment? I guess they need a well there to provide clean water. And some people say, hey, why don't you get something where they can pour water through and it clears it? I think that's a wonderful thing. Clean water is all. But let me ask you this. Would you want to do that? Would you want to walk a mile or 2 miles to get a bucket of clean water, then go home and pour it, and then that's when it's clean? No. You want to be able to get water close to your house. Gosh, it's 2017. They should at least be able to go pump a well and get water. They shouldn't have to walk to get dirty water, then go home and move it through something. So,
Question in the back.
Can you talk more about the partnerships you have with the NGOs and how do you assess the credibility of the work that they're doing in these communities?
for sure. So quickly with Water for Good, I think they're rated a 2 or 3 out of 4 on Charity Navigators, which worried me a little bit at first, but then I started looking into who they're partnering with. They're partnering with some of the most well-known water organizations in the world, and I fully trust them. Charity Water, again, is kind of my idol. That's who I look up to, and I said, hey, if they're partnering with them, then I'm good with that too. Kind of just trusting that. Also, I have communication with them every week With that water source from the first community we just built in, no lie, I received that email. I emailed them within 10 minutes, and I just said, hey, is this a lie? Are these people really drinking from this, or is this the worst water source you could find and you took a picture of it? Because I just need to know. Because, I mean, honestly, I was bawling. I was like, how in the world is someone drinking from that? Unfortunately, that was their only water source. So with them, I keep constant communication also before every well is built. Just like I mentioned, I receive where that money is spent, and I receive updates throughout that process.
All right, last question. What can we as a community do for you?
Yeah, number two, I know there's a lot of well-known and smart people. And number one, there's a lot of well-known and smart people in here. If you know a web designer, or that, we could use a lot of help with that, to be quite honest. Number two, if you work for a company or a partnership or a small corporation, or heck, if any of you just want to campaign us with us, that would be awesome. But lastly, the biggest thing, right now we're in our biggest campaign yet. From October 28th to November 25th, we're on a mission to raise $45,000 to build 3 wells that we've picked out, which we rarely do, for 3 communities that are in dire need of clean water. As of this morning, we were almost halfway there with 3 weeks remaining, so 22,500. I will say, moving forward, we're going to need the community to get strong. So again, you may not be able to take action, and that's understandable, but you may know someone that does, so I hope you guys get involved. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. All right, it's time for mug clubs. So if you've been to 1 Million Cups 10 times or more, please raise your hand. If you already have a mug, please put it down.
See someone in the back.
John will pick a lucky winner.
Hi. Please tell us your name and why you come to 1 Million Cups.
Hi, my name is Gulsana. I'm from Pakistan, and I started coming here as sort of an assignment for my schoolwork, but then I loved it so much. I've come here so many times, and every single time I'm here to learn more and more.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, we have some announcements. First, Morgan, about Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, everybody, there are some of these delightful programs in the back. Please pick one up. For those who don't know, Global Entrepreneurship Week starts next week. Kansas City has the big one in the nation, maybe the world. I'm going to say it. Who's going to fact check me? None of you. Depending on what you're looking for, it doesn't matter. There is something for everyone. Because we're like 50% high school today, I'm just going to point out for you all that this bar right here with the light bulb, that means youth entrepreneurship. Fellow judge is exactly right. Man, you can rule the world if you start taking advantage of this stuff right now. Do it. It's easy. It's in your grasp. The hard stuff comes later, but it's going to be a lot easier for you if you're prepared. For everyone else, a couple of events I want to point out for you. First, the kickoff breakfast. This is where we set our tone. Feelings are important. Start with the right ones on Monday morning. That means you're going to go to more of the sessions. You're going to do more of the things. You're going to be braver. You're going to be a little bit more vulnerable, and you're going to learn more. The second thing I'd like to point out to you is the 10th anniversary party for GEW. Please check that one out. That's where we really come together and look at where GEW started to where it's at now in the metro and worldwide. This is important because feelings are important, and we like to be able to reflect. You learn more that way. So, if none of that made sense, please feel free to go to the website. It is gwkc.org. Build your calendar online, have it sent to you. That way you're going to get those alerts to make sure you go to the breakouts that you have chosen. That's where the learning happens. Try something new. Be brave, be vulnerable, learn stuff at GW. Most of it is absolutely free. I know!
Thank you. To piggyback on that, we will have 1 Million Cups here next week, so join us as part of GEW. And then on Thursday at 12 p.m. at the Plex Pod in Westport, we're going to have a Where Are They Now? And 4 1 Million Cups presenters are going to come back, and we're going to have a little panel of where are they now after they presented here and got help and started growing. All right, Kusal, he is with the Young Entrepreneur Program. So listen up, high school.
Hey guys, I'm an intern at Bloom, the best startup in Kansas City. I might be biased in assuming that. I'm also a community organizer, caffeinator, actually, here at 1 Million Cups. And I graduated high school in May of 2017, and I'm taking a gap year right now. I wouldn't be where I am today had I not been part of the Young Entrepreneur Program Kansas City, an initiative started by the Kemper Foundation. Basically, the program sets you up with internships at Kansas City startups, which is how I got to Bloom, and gets you connected in the city, which is how I got here. We are currently looking for high school juniors and seniors to apply to it, and I'm more than happy to answer questions afterwards to talk more about it. Our website is yepkc.org, yepkc.org. I will say that it's very competitive, so we're only looking for the people who are willing to be challenged by these experiences. So if this sounds like you, talk to me.
Awesome. And lastly, Zach with UMKC.
Hey guys, I'm Zach from UMKC and NACDIS, and just as part of the Global Entrepreneurship Week, we're starting our 7th Career Accelerator event. It's basically a pipeline for young entrepreneurs or young students to meet with the KC startup community and further facilitate that ecosystem. KC has a lot of powerful and really encouraging startup community members, and so it's a good opportunity for young students to meet with them. So if you have a startup or you're a student interested in getting involved with that, it's Friday the 17th from 10 to 12 at the Westport Plex Pod. And if you have any questions, let me know, or you can check it out on the Global Entrepreneurship Week website under Career Accelerator. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, help me welcome our next presenter with FIO, Alex.
Morning, everyone. All right. So about 10 years ago, a friend of mine in high school asked me to help her with a video project. Since she's a girl and I was socially awkward, I did the natural thing and avoided it by throwing a YouTube video up so I didn't have to talk to her in person. With the intention of just helping her, I ended up helping a couple thousand people. And soon later, my 100+ how-to videos were seen in virtually every country on Earth with a combined view count of over 23 million. We were also featured by some pretty big media organizations like NPR, Adweek Magazine, a couple others as well. In the process of learning how to create tutorials, I learned a couple things. Like the average attention span for a video guide is less than 2.5 minutes, that people equally prefer video and written guides, and that all the content created needs to be easy to find, simple to navigate, and up to date. But we all know that that's not how the world works today. You have to scrub through long videos to find what's relevant to you, read walls of text and pages of forums to find partial solutions, and deal with the fact that a lot of the content you find on Google is out of date. When we first looked into this problem, we pretty quickly found that the main reason behind this is that companies today have to cobble together a mix of platforms, services, and tools just to create a single tutorial. The average workflow looks something like this. They'll use a screen capture tool like Camtasia before editing it in something like iMovie, uploading it to YouTube, and then embedding that YouTube video in a knowledge base of some kind. But you also have to account for the written component, which is usually created in Word, Google Docs, whatever they want to use. And this workflow is why companies today, their products are evolving faster than their support documentation, which in the end frustrates their customers. And that's exactly why we're building FIO. FIO is a tutorial management platform for companies to quickly create video and written guides tailored to how people prefer to learn. We're fundamentally changing how companies think about tutorials by first making it really easy to create them. So all they have to do is put in a short title, brief description, and specify how long it takes a customer to complete that task. Then they upload a video they already created or capture a new one using our built-in screen capture tool. Then they put in their written step-by-step instructions, adding photos and additional steps as they see fit. We then format and present this content in a way that hasn't been done before through video and written tutorials together interacting with each other on the same page. If you want to skip to step 4, you just click on it and the video automatically moves to that point in time. Likewise, you can scrub anywhere in the video, and it'll take you directly to where that step is happening. We're really fortunate to be working with some pretty big companies, most notably Zillow Group and Zillow Group Mortgages. And we just signed up Inc., which is a campus printer kiosk, about 2 weeks ago. Our business model, so we're software as a service. Our pilot right now is $149 per month, and we're increasing that to $250 when our beta launches in January. Right now, the team is myself, the founder and CEO, and we hired Dan Casson, who is our Chief Technology Officer, and building it all because I'm not a developer myself. So our mission is to enable you to show the world how to do anything. And that could be anything from assembling a piece of IKEA furniture to showing somebody how to play a new board game. And we're really excited to be partnering with the companies that we're piloting with right now, and excited just to be getting started. So, thanks.
So I'm a public librarian, so this is totally my jam. Having a little trouble focusing right now because possibilities are endless. Huge fan of lynda.com. And we preach that out in the community. It's ridiculous. So this, I'm just going to clarify a couple of things with you. You sell this to a company, you're not a developer.
We don't create the content.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yep.
So you brought on a team member that could do the things for you that you're not good at, which I applaud you for.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
But for what I feel like you're headed towards, I don't think one team member would get it all done.
Right.
So how, this looks great, but I feel like if we just scratched the surface and found you tomorrow morning, you'd just be like, oh my God. So could you be a little vulnerable about us with in regards to what else is lacking right now to get you to the number of customers you need to be at, and give us a really honest update? I feel like people in this audience would be able to help you more and get more out of it if let's set aside the rainbows and marshmallows and really get to the good stuff, because I feel like there's stuff there, but you're just not letting us know about it.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so I'll be fully transparent. So we were lucky enough to be a part of the NMotion Startup Accelerator in Lincoln, Nebraska over the summer. And before we got into that accelerator, we had no team. I'm a solo, non-technical founder. So we had no team, no product, and no customers. And that was really hard, obviously. And having that initial $20,000 seed capital, and because of that, we were able to get a prototyping grant. That's what allowed me to hire our CTO. So right now where we're sitting, we launched our tutorial viewer. So you saw the video and text. So we launched that October 5th with Zillow. So half of our platform exists. With one developer, obviously things don't move as fast as you want it to. And so we just applied for a loan because it's hard to raise capital at the type of stage we're at, also just geographically. And so we took out a loan to hire an additional developer to speed up the template development. And that's really critical for us because that allows our platform to be fully self-sustaining. Right now, when we onboard customers, they give us all of their tutorials through Google Form, and we have to manually upload all of that content to our viewer, which is a lot of manual work. And so getting that template done as soon as possible allows us to get to that scalable point where then, my job is to go sell it at a much more fast rate. So we're expecting that template development to be done in January. So hopefully that answered some of your questions there.
Thank you for that, because I was like, I feel like there's going to be some real customer service issues if there's only 2 dudes in this, and you can't change things at the speed that those large customers need you to change them at.
Yeah, and so that's why when we signed up Zillow, nothing was built, and so we did a pilot with them. we pre-sold the heck out of this. So actually, everybody but Inc. signed up when nothing was available. And so what we did was we had our, and that was just off the mock-ups. So, I mean, that was cool. But let's see, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so the pilot we built in, so it's 6 months long. And that's on purpose because we need time to develop the platform. And so when our template's done in January, we still have 3 months of pilot to test and get off the ground. So then we can convert them in March. So that's kind of our roadmap and where we want to go. So all of our pilots weren't paying monthly recurring. They will starting in March, but every company that we onboard from this point on, because our viewer is available, they're paying at a monthly subscription.
Yeah, great presentation. I like the way you you introed yourself, and yeah, it allows you, to connect with the crowd and also why you're doing this. Like, I think when we look at pitches, it's the best ones, or the best entrepreneurs we want to back are people that have a story, that are like, hey, I was talking to my friend, we found this pain point, we built it. We didn't like to talk to each other in person, or I think that's something that's good, and I think I like that. I think as you get into things like Zillow, so I guess a question would be, that's a lot of great startups have become big technology companies focusing on a one industry. Like DocuSign comes to mind. I believe started, or there was a tool that was purchased by DocuSign that was for real estate agents to more easily get signatures from people that are buying and selling their house. I mean, it's real estate is an industry that is been slow to adapt, I think, to technology. So that's why I think that's probably a plus and a minus for something like Zillow, is that you're dealing with people that are trying to break into using technology, but then in an industry that maybe is pushing it off a little bit. So I'd like to know a little bit more about why real estate and how Zillow, give us kind of an example of how Zillow is using this, or and then also what other niches, what other like industry verticals, like Brent said, you can do a lot of things, but it's good to do one or two things like very well. So I really like the gaming example, esports, and people spend a lot of time, especially millennials, on researching gaming and watching people, watching professional gamers, play, and this is that to me seems like a slam dunk for you to go after. But so number one, why real estate, and number two, like what other niches are you going after?
Yeah, so in Motion, one of the people who were just coming in worked at Zillow, and during Motion we were supposed to do something, and I did something different, just pitched it, and then that's how we got in there. But our bread and butter right now are not necessarily Zillow, but like early stage software companies around the Series A stage, like they have fundraising coming in, and that's on purpose because they have a fresh influx of capital. So they have money to spend. They're creating their first set of user documentation because they're going to have hopefully a big influx of new customers who need to learn how to use that tool. So that's our bread and butter right now. One of the beautiful things about tutorials is that they're applicable to virtually anything, and everybody looks for them at some point. But we're approaching this, let's do the early stage software market, looking at the Product Hunt crowd, the Capterra crowd, events like this. And then after, we're moving into the self-service software space. So think of Zendesk. We want to replace the knowledge base of Zendesk. That's where we're going next. And then, after that, the vertical we're looking at right now is HR and onboarding. So 1 in 3 companies have no onboarding content online, and this is a really cool opportunity. And we were actually exploring HR before, but it's incredibly hard to get into. They're slow to adapt new technologies, so that's why we were not focusing on that. But if we can prove that the product is working for the other 2 segments, that gives us a lot more power walking into those meetings. So,
well, great ideas. I mean, I think that HR as well. A couple of our startups here in Kansas City do things that could be useful to HR, and sometimes but the HR departments are working on so many different things
Right.
that sometimes it's better to go in and look at the head of training or something like that, or a lot of, as you're starting a company, you want to know who to sell into, what position in a company. So, but I like that. And again, I think any of the things you just described could be a great business. So it's just to be careful on how broad you go.
For sure.
And try to really be an expert in, and that's, you looking at Series A companies, I mean, that could be any company, but that's a good way to segment your market. Like, I commend you for doing that, because what you just described is Series A, which for maybe the high school kids in the crowd would be more than just an idea. You've got your product built, and when you raise a Series A, that's your first round of probably institutional capital, where you have a lot of outside investors. So that's a great idea. I think I also, just last thing, I liked that you kind of narrowed it down to your tutorial management platform. So that helps people kind of visualize, what you're doing. So, yeah, great job. I'm excited to learn more.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to open it up to audience questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We've got one over there.
Great job, Alex. Oops, I'm over here. Hello.
Thank you.
My name's Karen Finneroli. I'm the founder of a pitch rally during Tech Week called Pure Pitch Rally. Here's my challenge to you. Get ready. Come win some money. It's September and October. We have land sharks that just give away free cash. So get scaled up by then. Just a comment, you need to get some diversity on your team. I'm looking at all the women here. I want to stand up as an investor and say that. So I think you could improve that. I love your idea. So my question is, who are the two corporates in Kansas City you want as clients? Who are the two companies, and how can I help you get introduced?
I know Neighborly is in town, right? And I've actually talked to them before. I'm trying to think corporates. Well, I know Sprint is huge. Sprint would be nice. Oh man, second one. I mean, even even Kaufman, right? So Kaufman has educational content available, and so we think our platform could be very beneficial in that space. So that's how I would. Those are the two that I would like to talk to.
Question down front.
Hi. First off, great presentation, but if you don't mind, I missed it. What was the cost on the per month basis originally?
Sure, yeah. So our pilot customers are $149 per month.
Okay, and then with your service, is it something of just like a convenience, I suppose? Like, if I'm willing to do the work with creating the Word document, putting the YouTube video, uploading it, and embedding it into the website, is it still worth for me to get your service, or there's still added benefits to going to you instead of doing it myself?
Well, I think it's the consolidation of the amount of platforms that people are using today. And so when you're pushing out tutorials or like guides on a knowledge base, it's really easy for that content to get lost. And so we actually track each tutorial and say, hey, this content is probably out of date because you haven't updated it in 6 or 12 months. And so it's more than just tools to create it, it's tools to create, maintain that material as well.
Okay, thank you.
So.
We have another question on the left.
Hi there. Great presentation.
Thank you.
One of the goals of an entrepreneur, one of the tricks of an entrepreneur is how to think big while thinking small.
Yeah.
You're starting a business, so you have to think small. But if you look 3 to 5 years down the road, this is a tool that I could see Microsoft developing. They could squash you like a bug, as Kevin O'Leary says on Shark Tank. So how do you envision getting this in front of some of those big software development companies to license your technology to them, or are you planning on building this as a standalone business and try to get your own users?
Good question. So, if the trick with that question is if a big company like Google or Microsoft wants to create it, they're going to create it, and they have the resources to squash us. Because even if we do patents and whatever, they're just going to be able to beat us. And so hopefully for those companies, if they want to implement something just like ours, and we have the patents behind it, hopefully it's an acquisition type of deal. Because honestly, I'm not going to be able to stand up to them at this point. 3 to 5 years down the road, we'll have success in the early stage software space. We'll be, taking market share, hopefully, away from Zendesk and Help Scout and some of those other ones. and we'll start getting a reputation, and then we'll be able to license it off to those organizations. But before I can really talk to them, I need to be able to prove and show numbers saying, hey, here's the tutorials watched, here's the average view duration, more information like that. So, but 3 to 5 years down the road, I mean, we want to be in a couple different markets at that point. So, well, that's kind of how I'm envisioning it.
Question on your right.
Hi, thanks for presenting. You were talking about using Google Forms and then having to like manually do this for people. Why not make a tutorial to teach them how to do that part?
We do. So we actually use our own platform to show people how to use our platform. So it's very meta.
Is it too complicated or?
So like if you were to go to guides.fyi.io, our tagline on that page is even a tutorial platform needs tutorials on how to create tutorials. And in my opinion, like a platform or software or whatever, a lot of people come up to me and say, well, our platform is easy enough for people to figure out. And honestly, I think that's kind of arrogant because not everybody has the same skill set, and different people learn different ways. So yeah, we have tutorials on how to create the tutorials at this point, and we will continue to do so.
Question in the back.
Hi, so you've partnered with Zillow and a couple other companies. If I want to go find that content, do I go to Zillow's website and get it from there? Do I go to your website and find something within Zillow from your website? How do I get to it?
Yeah, so the content that's available right now is private, it's internal. So for example, we're partnering with the mortgage side of Zillow. And so when Zillow onboards a bank, they have to manually talk to those people. And so our tutorials are taking place of that manual interaction or that one-on-one interaction. But Zillow Group Mortgages is actually available through Zillow.com. And so when they publish that content, I don't know what the official URL for that will be, but I should know here in a couple weeks.
Question down front.
This is a great idea. I talk to so many people who have to work with people who are not part of the organization, not necessarily customers. So it's a great idea. I have a question for you about how you formulated this product and its pricing. Did you go out and kind of survey the marketplace? And if you did, how did you decide who your test subjects were going to be for your survey?
Gotcha. So we didn't do surveys. We reached out, just cold emailed a bunch of people and got their feedback on our mock-ups, see if it would help them, and then we just kind of threw out a price. Given the stage that we're at, we can't charge like our full price. And honestly, it's just, would you pay this amount? Not asking them how much they'd pay, but like us coming out with a number. And so, when we said $250 to an organization, they're like, well, that's expensive enough for me to think about it, but not cheap enough where it's an automatic answer. And I think that's the perfect spot that we want to be in. As our platform evolves and adds functionality, I mean, we're saving, honestly, I think our pricing is too cheap, just to be completely honest, because think about it in Zillow's an enterprise tier, so keep that in mind. But with Zillow, if we're making it faster for them to create tutorials, we're automatically saving tens of thousands of dollars per year on just the process of creating that content. And on the other side, if they don't have to onboard their 20,000 customers in the mortgage side, I mean, that's a ton of time there too. And so we'd have to, from the enterprise side, how much value are we adding? And that's something that we're going to be figuring out here very soon. But from a regular, typical consumer side, it was just asking, hey, would you pay this? And then trying to get that perfect mix of, ooh, let me think about it, and not an automatic yes.
Question on the right.
I think this is a great idea, but one of the biggest issues you're probably going to run into is how do you find the right tutorial? In other companies that I've worked for, the biggest issue was they had the information out there, but how do you organize it and create a system to where I find the right answer and quickly?
Yeah, so because we're tying together both video and written tutorials in the same location, and because they're time-stamped, when someone searches for how to do something, we're able to dive into the video and analyze that and actually start them where it's most relevant to them. So it'll identify the tutorial, and then it'll actually analyze, oh, we think you might start at step 4 because that's where you are in the process. So, part of it is, in a lot of bigger companies, because there's no way to really identify content that was made in the past, there's a lot of duplication of content as well. And so being able to organize that information and then make it insanely searchable to the point where the exact second where that process starts in a video, that's how we're approaching it.
All right, final question. What can we as a community do to help you?
Yeah, so you guys have done a great job on just asking questions. One thing that I'm always wanting people to do is tear this idea apart. Like, what would make you not sign up for it? What stands out particularly, like, this is awesome? Pricing feedback. Do you think we're charging too little or too much? And honestly, I'm not super well connected to folks in Kansas City. Omaha's not too far away, but would love to connect with folks and interact with more folks down here. And I actually wanted to answer one of your questions. So you mentioned the use case with Zillow, and it's twofold. So one is if a bank gets works with Zillow, it's to onboard those banking reps instead of having to do it manually. And then the other side is showing people how to use the mortgage side of the platform. Yeah.
That it makes a lot of sense to sell into Series A companies, but a lot of times they don't have any money. So it is good to get some, as Karen said, some large enterprise clients that can help you scale your business. And so maybe try to do both if you can. But it is at a price point where it doesn't seem like much, but it's probably too expensive for the average seed Series A company. But yeah, great job.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Okay, hopefully everyone is feeling super inspired and ready to go start your business. We will see you next week, same time, same place. Please feel free to ask Alex and Brent questions afterwards. We're going to be here for a couple more minutes, so thanks for coming. See you next week.
Hey, real quick, everybody, look in the back of the room. The guy sitting on the chair back there, that's Kyle, one of our organizers. Tomorrow's his birthday. Please wish him a happy birthday on your way out. Happy birthday, Kyle.